Hello everyone, hope you guys are well. So let's talk about network reconnaissance. So the methodologies of reconnaissance is target identifications and selection, target profiling, target validation, and types. There are two types of reconnaissance: passive reconnaissance and active reconnaissance. Active reconnaissance is network and system configuration related, and passive is website, web application, and active is operating system, just like this. In the context of cybersecurity, reconnaissance is the practice of covertly discovering and collecting information about a system. This method is often used in ethical hacking or penetration testing. Like many cybersecurity terms, reconnaissance derives from military languages, where it refers to a mission with the goal of obtaining information from enemy territory. How reconnaissance works? Reconnaissance generally follows 7 steps, like collect initial information, determine the network range, identify active machines, find access points and open ports, fingerprint the operating system, discover services on ports, map the network. Using these steps, an attacker will aim to gain the following information about network, and the information is file permissions, running network services, OS platform, trust relationships, user account information. One of the most common techniques involved with reconnaissance is port scanning, which sends data to various TCP and UDP ports on a device and evaluates the response. So there is some difference between passive and active reconnaissance. There are two main types of reconnaissance: active and passive reconnaissance. With active reconnaissance, hackers interact directly with the computer system and attempt to obtain information through techniques like automated scanning or manual testing and tools like ping and netcat. And active recon is generally faster and more accurate but riskier because it creates more noise within a system and has a higher chance of being detected. And passive reconnaissance gathers information without directly interacting with systems using tools such as Wireshark and Shodan and methods such as OS fingerprinting to gain information. How to prevent reconnaissance? Organizations can use penetration testing to determine what their network would reveal in the event of a reconnaissance attack. During testing, organizations can deploy port scanning tools which scan large networks and determine which hosts are up, and vulnerability scanners which known vulnerabilities. Reconnaissance attacks technique perform an information query of a target and description. The threat actor is looking for initial information about a target. Various tools exist, including the Google Search Organization's website, Whois, and more. And technique initiated a blank sweep of the target network and description. The information query usually reveals the target's network address, and the threat actor can now initiate a ping sweep to determine which IP addresses are active. Technique is initiated a port scan of active IP addresses and description. This is used to determine which ports of services are available. Examples of port scanners include Nmap, Superscan, Angry IP Scanner, and NetScan tools. And another technique was run vulnerability scanners, and the description is this is to query the identified ports to determine the type and version of the application and operating system that is running on the host. Examples of tools include Nipper, Senua, PSI Core Impact, Nessus version 6, and Saint and OpenBAS. Run exploration tools is another technique, and the description is the threat actor now attempts to discover vulnerable services that can be exploited. A variety of vulnerability exploitation tools exist, including Metasploit, Core Impact, SQL Map, Social Engineer Toolkit, and NetSparker. So there is some relation or network reconnaissance for SQL injection. So first we need to know what is SQL injection. SQL, or structured query language, is the standard language for interacting with relational databases. In apps and other types of programming, databases are used to store user data such as usernames and passwords. Databases are also often the most effective secure solution for storing other types of data, from public blog posts and comments to confidential bank account numbers. SQL statements often use arguments to pass data from users into secure databases or vice versa, unless the values in these user supplied SQL arguments are secured by sanitizing or prepared statements. Attackers can use the places where your app communicates with a database with a SQL argument to gain access to confidential information and other secured areas. So what can attackers do with a SQL injection attack? SQLI attacks make use of vulnerabilities in code at the point where it accesses a database. By hijacking this code, attackers are able to access, modify, and even delete secured data. When SQLI attacks are useful, attackers can log into an app or a website front end without a password, access, extract, or delete stored data from secure databases, create their own database records, or modify exists records, opening the door for further attacks. And anatomy of SQL injection attack. In the reconnaissance stage, which entails the research to identify and select targets, attackers will look for places in your app where they can pass unexpected values to SQL statements, suppressing error message simply isn't enough. Common methods for discovering SQL vulnerabilities include adding single quotes and semicolons into user input data and looking for error messages that return information about database structure and naming schemas. It isn't as though you are always going to against a person that you simply need to outsmart. SQL injection attacks are easy to automate, which means you need the best defense in both brain power and scanning tools. Once they have found vulnerabilities in your app, attackers will create their own SQL statements and use them to manipulate your app's behavior. If their attack is successful, attackers will be able to gain access confidential data. And there is some types of SQL injection, and this is SQL injection error based, blind based, and in the blind based there is two types, boolean based and time based. So this is it, guys. Hope you guys liked it, and thanks for watching. Hello everyone, let's talk about rogue access point and how rogue access point works. The attack using a fraudulent access point, rogue access point, is to create a wireless network without encryption so that anyone can connect to it. They are man in the middle attacks. Unlike the evil twin attack and most other Wi-Fi attacks, the purpose of the fraudulent access point is not Wi-Fi passwords. The main goal is the traffic of the user against which the mediator is attacking. For this situation, apply absolutely all methods of attacking man in the middle. Set up rogue access points. Setting up a wireless access point is to establish the actual AP itself as well as ensure its connection to the internet. There are various tools for this. You can configure various network configurations. There are also tools like Wi-Fi Pumpkin that automate the process of raising the AP and working with traffic. I want to show another solution that shows you how to set up rogue access point. In my opinion, more stable and flexible than Wi-Fi Pumpkin. Creating an open access point, we need a tool create AP installation on Kali Linux. Sudo apt get install. This is the command. To create an access point, we need a Wi-Fi card and an internet connection in any way via wire or via a second Wi-Fi card to work in a virtual machine. One external Wi-Fi card is sufficient if the computer is accessed in any other way. If the wireless card fully supports the AP mode, then it is enough only because it can simultaneously be a client for connecting to the internet. I always upload network manager for any work with Wi-Fi networks, and therefore I do this sudo system t1 stop network manager. Depending on the network settings, then you may lose your internet connection and you will have to manually configure your Wi-Fi network. To start wireless access point with create AP, and now just run create AP sudo create _AP. If you do not know which of your interfaces is wireless, then run command sudo iwddev. This command will display the names of the wireless interfaces only. I want to create a AP named free Wi-Fi, then my command is sudo create AP wln1 wlan0 free Wi-Fi. Kill WPS supplicant, and the command is kill all -9 WP underscore supplicant. Then everything went well. Try to connect to it. There will be entries like this. Sudo create underscore AP. Features of man-in-the-middle attack on rogue access point. You can analyze and modify data using Bethercap, man-in-the-middle, proxy, netcrats, any other tools you are used to working with. The features are that you do not need to ARP spoofing. Then install gem install Bethercap. And Linux command. Suppose I want to view traffic from Bethercap, and command is sudo Bethercap -x -i wlan1. Security measures with rogue access point. Do not forget that the users who connect are on our internet. They are connected to the network with our IP. If any resourceful citizen wants to anonymously say everything he thinks about the ruling party, installation in Kali Linux, the command is tor for sudo apt get install tor. Open tor settings file for sudo gedit and enter there. It is not yet possible to restart the service, otherwise the tor service simply does not rise due to an error. And run tor for the command is sudo system ct1 start tor if you had tor installed before restart the service. So guys, that's it. Hope you guys liked it, and thanks for watching.